Haudenosaunee nos.
Eha.
Haudenosaunee nos.
Eha.
Haudenosaunee nos.
Eha.
Segment, welcome to Channel 7, home of the Haudenosaunee News. I'm the Hawaiian.
I'm Hawaiian.
And today we're talking about Billy Two Rivers.
Can you tell us a little bit about Billy Two Rivers?
Oh, well, he was a famous wrestler in the 1950s. Then he sat in the elder circle in Kahnawake, and he was a chief at the MCK for Kahnawake. And we're doing videos about him at the Akwesasne Cultural Center, and he's talking about the two-row wampum belt.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It's very enlightening. Thank you.
If you listen to history today, you will think that the two-row came out of the sky when the Dutch arrived here. That all of a sudden, magically, the Mohawks went up and they reached up there and pulled down this philosophy and said this is the two-row. But it's not. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. It goes to the very foundation and formation of our society. Because all of us, knowingly or unknowingly, are people involved in a two-row concept. The very principle of family life, of having a balance between equality of people. Everybody's created equal, and you've heard that thing many times. Well, the application of that comes from here, because this applies to the very principles of me and my wife. Here's me and here's my wife, and we coexist. And we are equal, but we have different responsibilities. I can't be her and she can't be me. That is the two-row of life that my wife and I go along. And my wife and I have children. And I have a two-row with my children. The rights of my child and my rights is we're equal, but we have different responsibilities. That child has a right to coexist with me. The very thing of the extended family, the uncles, the friends. You and I are friends, we're equals, but you've got one responsibility, I've got another. We go down the two-row along. It's the very fundamental thing of living, of having a balanced life. Of being able to coexist with each other. And that is the foundation and principle of Mohawk philosophy, of Iroquoian philosophy. That is the two-row. When they say here, there's one big ship and one small canoe, well, that's two things that are together. And we cross each other, but each one has a different responsibility. And that's what a lot of times we forget, because people say, oh, well, when the Dutch arrived, we introduced them to the two-row. Then we introduced it to the British and the French and Canada. Well, it's much older than that. It's the very, very foundation of our social structure.
Say that.
Think I can balance on that?
No. Maybe. I don't know. Try it.
I don't think so.
Let me see the tape. Put your arm like that, dude. Keep it good, steady.
Zola tape, so strong it can even fix your friends.
Hi, welcome back to Channel 7, home of the Haudenosaunee News. Today we're doing some research on Jake's Swamp. Hawaiian, to you.
Several, my name's Hawaiian. We're here located at a pine tree that Jake Swamp planted many years ago. He planted trees all over.
Let us uproot this tree and let us throw our weapons of war into this hole in the ground. And they planted the tree on top of the weapons. For now they all have agreed that they will never have any weapons between one another anymore. And so from there, then he started to describe the tree. He told the leaders, you stand in a circle. So you're going to be representative of this tree of peace. You're going to be like the tree of peace. And he said to them, the greenery of this tree will symbolize the peace you have made between each other. For this greenery is continuous, so shall be your peace you have agreed to. Then he took the needles on that tree that are tied together in bunches of 5. For the needles on that tree, they're all tied together into one, meaning you will always be one people. And then he continued on and he described the eagle that they placed as a symbol at the top of the tree. And so he symbolized that eagle. They are visionary people. Just like this eagle who looks far into the distance. If any evil would be approaching the territories of the 5 nations, the eagle would sound an alarm and warn the people. The ones who can look into the future, they have the responsibility to come to the people and give a warning. And then he explains about the 4 white roots. He says from the base of this tree will be 4 white roots, and they will go into the 4 directions. And its purpose is to spread the peace. Then he turned to the leaders and he said, remember, you leaders, we have placed everything in your hands, and you must always defend this tree of peace. This tree will land on your joint hands. And when that time comes, you will be burdened with the heaviness of its weight. And just about when you are ready to lose your grip, for you cannot hold on any longer, it is at that time that many children will be born. They'll realize how burdened you are with the weight you carry. Many children will come running to aid you. They will put their shoulders underneath that tree that has fallen, and they will help you to raise it up again.
He's no longer with us, but his teachings remain.
Oh man, I noticed you guys are dancing real slow. I keep having to sing the slow songs. I don't think you guys are ready for the powwow.
Alright, I'm ready.
Are you?
Yeah. There, I brought you some Tim Hortons coffee.
Oh, thank you.
Am I invisible? You're not dancing.
Come get your Tim Hortons.
Welcome back to Channel 7, home of the Haudenosaunee News. I'm on location at Onondaga Nation, home of Audrey Shenandoah. She was the dear grandmother who taught the roles of women and the ways of the longhouse.
And I think it's a very, very important aspect of anybody's life, any human's life, that we should, maybe within our own families, try to recognize that time when our young people who are passing into their puberty, into another age really, when physical demands have come upon them that they have a hard time handling. Besides the world around them, those kinds of things, I don't know how they can handle that without guidance from parents. We have a big job to do. We have a big job as women to always remember that our whole future generations depends on what we can pass on to them, being women, being girls, being the givers of life within the creation. We do have a very, very special place, a very special gift, a most honored and revered place within society, all of society. And all of women should feel this. And I've told women of mixed groups that they should feel this. But Creator created all beings to live in a balance, and not that one would be, one species of any living thing should be consider themselves to be in a superior state of being, I guess.
Audrey is no longer with us, but her teachings remain.
I'm warming up here.
Stop, that was terrible.
That was really good.
And all the good singers make faces when they sing. Hey! Oh yeah! Oh
That was awful. I could hear it myself.
It was really good.
Hey guys, try these.
I want that one there. Sure. Singing beads.
Seko, welcome back to Channel 7 News, home of the Haudenosaunee. I'm doing a presentation on John Mohawk. He was from the Seneca Nation, and he was a well-known scholar, lecturer, and historian. He studied his culture, and he was an author of the Haudenosaunee. And he's no longer with us, but his teachings remain.
it will never be the case that we will ever exhaust the stories, because it was never intended that there was going to be one official text. The stories were never intended to be textual. So unlike some cultures which have as the foundation of their knowledge base a book, the Haudenosaunee culture has as a foundation of its knowledge base an oral tradition. And within the oral tradition are variations, so that some other versions carry some pieces of information that are not in other versions. So there's room there for one to interrogate what it is that's being said and how it is that it's being said. So there's really quite a lot of room for collateral interpretation. I'm assuming almost everybody knows that story in broad outline, that you have another world, and in the other world there's a great tree, and there's a keeper of the tree, and there's a woman that comes to him, and he marries her, and something happens, and each version seems to have a different variation on what it is that happened. But there's an interesting thing when you look into the Onondaga part of it. The tree is referred to as the tooth. The tree has the name, and the name of the tree is called a tooth. And actually following that up, you'll find that the name of the tree, the celestial tree that gives off the blue light, that's the inspiration to the peoples living in the sky world, that brought about the idea of this vision, that there would be something that would transform that into a different world. That tree is called a tooth. And what it refers to is a plant called the yellow dogtooth violet. And the yellow dogtooth violet is an ephemeral. About this time of the year it comes out. It's really quite rare. It grows to be maybe 3.5, 4 inches tall. And it's a relative of the wild tobacco plant. But it has a bulb under it. And according to our story, when they pulled the plant out of the ground, there appeared beneath a great darkness, and the woman put her feet in the chasm that was left by the plant being pulled up. And then one of several things happened. She either lost her balance and fell in, or the thing caved in and she fell in, or she was pushed in, or somehow, but for sure she ended up in there, falling from there through the sky into the next world, to the sea, and then the turtle came, and all this stuff happened. Anyway, I want to point out this pregnant woman, and she seems to desire the root of this tree, which is actually an herb. And this is the beginning, her pursuit of that root is the beginning, according to this story, of the coming to being of the vision, the dream of a world which will be created on a turtle's back and will turn into the Turtle Island.
Haudenosaunee knows.
Hey-ha.
Haudenosaunee knows.
Hey-ha.
Woo! Yeah. Yeah.